Newfie Knits here. Today, we're doing hats. We're doing an easy in the round fisherman hat. So I'm going to teach you a very easy project where you just have to knit this in a round, going around and around in a circle. It's new. You're going to love it. Let's get started. For today's project, you're going to need worsted weight yarn, size 8 or 5 millimeter circular needles, at least 30 inches in length. This project states 47 inches, and a yarn needle. Alright guys, let's get started. So we got our colorful yarn. This is worsted weight, and you will need worsted weight for your pattern. So worsted weight is number 4. And it kind of looks like this on the side of your yarn or wool. So if you look here, it says medium 4 right here. And then it says 5 millimeter US 8 knitting needle or a 5 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, so this is a good size for the project that we are using today. Obviously, if you go a bit bigger, your project's going to be bigger. If you go smaller, your project's going to be smaller. So just keep to the pattern if you want it to turn out right, okay? I did bring in some extra balls of wool just to show you the difference. So this is worsted weight. Then you got sock yarn, which if you compare the two, see the difference? See how small and fine this is? This is number 1, super fine. This is what you would use for socks, okay? Then you got super bulky. Okay, you got super bulky. This is bulky 5 if you see. And then you need at least 9 millimeter US 13 knitting needles for this one. This is great for hats and stuff as well, but you need to find a pattern that'd work for the bigger type of yarn. And just as a comparative, look at the difference. Right? You won't accidentally buy chunky wool. All right. Most wool or yarn is worsted because most projects do call for that, but to each their own. Every wool and every knitting needle has its place. Now, talking about knitting needles. So I am not getting 4.5 US 7 knitting needles. We are going for, oh my goodness, here it is. We are going for, there you go, 5 millimeter US 8 knitting needles. So that's the kind you need. And it's circular. Okay? What that means is this guy is 30 inches long. Okay? So you need this so you can knit in the round. It's kind of a cheat sheet so you don't have to sew up your hat. Because if you sew up your hat, you're going to notice it. So for this pattern, there's a bunch of different sizes. I'm going to have the pattern down in the description below, because it'd be nice for you guys to have reference, to give credit where credit's due, and also it's a very basic knitting hat pattern. So first thing that we're going to do is we are going to cast on, and I will be getting rid of this tail, by the way, in this pattern. So we're going to cast on 88 stitches because I want to knit a little tiny hat for my niece. So once we get those stitches cast on, we will reconvene back here today so that I can show you how to attach and knit in the round, okay? And you're thinking to yourself, my God, my knitting needles are so long. How in the name of God are we going to knit this in a circle? Well, I'm going to show you using the magic loop method. It's very easy to do, and it's a lifesaver. I very rarely knit with just 2 knitting needles anymore. At least this way, my project never can fall off. Okay, and you'll know what that's like.
A few moments later.
Okay. We have our 88 stitches on. Now, there's a couple things about knitting in the round that I need to let you guys know. Number 1, notice they are not joined yet. Okay? I'm going to show you how to do that. Number 2, notice. All right? Do not twist your stitches. If you notice, see the ribs? They're all wonky donkey. See this? They're all twisted. Make sure it's not twisted. If it's twisted, your project is not going to knit up properly whatsoever. So see how I got all the little ribbies on the inside? Okay, so this is what we need to do to knit flawlessly. So first thing you do, don't argue with me, but we're going to knit an extra stitch. Okay, so we're going to go up to 89 stitches. Now, here's the second thing you're going to do. I want you, this is the whole point of knitting in the round. You're going to bend this in half. Well, don't be mean to it. You don't want to break it. But you're going to pull that plastic out. Okay? So what you're doing is you're just pulling that out. Don't worry, it's not going to cause any problems to this up here, okay? So it's going to look a little funny and it looks a little contrary right now, but just make sure you don't twist those. See how I'm struggling to keep those guys on the inside? You don't want anything twisted. Okay? Nothing twisted. So all the little bumpies should be on the inside of your project, okay? Just like that. So see how all the bumpies are on the inside of the project? Okay? Don't twist them. I don't know how many times I got to tell you that, but don't twist them. All right, so we are bringing, oops. Okay, so we're bringing our stitches, and again, make sure our project isn't twisted, all up here like this. So you want your knitting needle, I think I cast it on a little too tight, but that's okay. Don't do that either. You want to bring your knitting needle down so it's even. Now it's a lot easier than this normally, but I guess doing tutorials is not as easy as what we like. Okay, here we go. Okay, so notice how all the bumpies, again, make sure for the 200th time, they're all on the inside. So if you notice, all the bumpies on the inside, the knitting needles are brought up so that both the stitches are at the edge. And of course, your working yarn, whoops, is on your right needle, okay? So again, double check the bumpies. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this stitch off the left needle. Bloop, and we're going to put it on the right needle. And we're going to take the stitch. Now, normally you do this with your knitting needles, but I just want to show you. Then you're going to take this, bloop, and we're going to pop it over there. Okay, so I'm going to show you that again. So you take, oops, let's undo what I just did there. Okay, so we take, to join these two rounds, you take this side, plop it over to the right side, and your right side, you're plopping right over like that. So you're essentially knitting them together, okay? You slip the stitch over. Again, one more time. Come on now. One more time, slip him there. Okay. One more time. We're going to take the stitch from the left needle over to the right needle to join in the round. We're going to take the next stitch that's on the right needle and we're going to nail that sucker down, okay? Now, okay. So, I guess step 3. Again, this is not complicated. Once you get this, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna take your working needle, which is your right needle, pull him out. Now, at the end of this guy, see how we have like a little loopy poo? This allows us to knit in the round, and you'll be able to do this a lot easier. But what it does essentially, this is going to be your working yarn. You're going to knit everything over to this guy, but you're going to see it. Give me a second here. Now that we got the project joined in the round, so that means 2 ends are joined, and she's a big circle if you can kind of see it. We're going to knit 1, purl 1, and we're going to continue knitting 1 and purling 1 until this project measures. Oops, I want to knit that back into the project. We're going to continue knitting 1 and purling 1 until the project measures. Okay, we have our project all knitted together. Look at how cute that is. Look at all the little stripes and all the pretty colors. This is the type of wool I used, okay? So it's really cute for a little tiny, for a niece or a nephew or something along those lines. Just to show you the difference. So here it is here. So it's a beautiful, purpley, winey, oh God, it matches my sweater apparently. It's gorgeous. I love it. So this is for Actually, I'm not sure who it's for. Maybe it'll be for my sister-in-law. God knows. But I just wanted to show you the ribbing, because you can't really see it with those colors over there. See how beautiful that is? And this will allow for a lot of stretch. So if somebody got a big head or something along those lines, this will be good. But it's kind of a one-size-fits-all to an extent, okay? Like you notice every single size, we have to cast on more and more stitches. So the bigger the person's head, the more and more stitches, okay? But at least it has some forgiveness. You don't have to be bang on with it, okay? So I'm going to be finishing both hats, but right now we're going to be doing this one. And you notice brand new knitting needles. My wooden ones decided to die. So make sure you buy nice knitting needles. Doesn't have to be the cheapest or the most expensive, but make sure they're good quality, okay? Mine came from a big box store, and that's the second time I've had that happen where the rope actually disconnected from the knitting needle. These are a higher grade knitting needle. I went with metal just because I could not find the size I wanted in wooden. But that's okay. These are very smooth and very easy to knit with, okay? So for this pattern, now that we got our 7.25 inches casted on here for that size, obviously bigger for bigger sizes, smaller for smaller. I'm just assuming everyone's knitting a hat for their niece or nephew. So, all right, just like what we did before. Well, sorry, we didn't do this before, but this is what you're going to do from now on. I want you to put a stitch marker there at the beginning of your row. Just put a stitch marker there, okay? So I've already knit one on to try to keep that stitch marker there. So my pattern states that I begin the crown on round 3. And if you look at, I'm going to have a picture up here, obviously. If you look at the instructions, I went with child, small, adult, 7.25 high, begin crown on round 3. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go right to round 3. So round 3 says knit 1, purl 1 5 times, slip 2, knitwise, and pass 2 over, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1 4 more times, and repeat star to star. That means repeat that whole round 3 more times. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. And that should get you down to 80 stitches. All right, so here we go. So we knit 1, purl 1. Okay, and we got to do that 5 times. So that's 1 time, knit 1, purl 1. That's 2 times, knit 1, purl 1, 3 times, knit 1, purl 1, 4 times. I feel like I'm calling out bingo. Knit 1, purl 1, 5 times. Now, it states after you've knit 1, purl 1 5 times, you're going to knit 1. Oh, no, I apologize. We're going to slip 2 knitwise, and that goes just like this, okay? Okay, so slipping 2. So this is a decrease. Instead of just knitting 2 together like this, we're not going to do that with this pattern. We're going to slip 2 knitwise. So you're not knitting them. My wool is still here. I am not doing anything with that. I'm just holding on to it just because that's just what you do. So you slip 2 knitwise. So you don't just slide them off like that. That's purlwise. It'll change the look of the stitch. So knitwise, slip 1, slip 2, and then it wants you to knit this here. So you're going to knit, and then you're going to pass 2 over. See? So it's a decrease. So it's like knitting them 2 together, except we just did it in a different way, okay? And I'm going to do that with you a couple of times. So after that, we purl 1. Then we knit 1, purl 1 4 more times, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. There, we're at the end of the round. Now what do? We look back at the pattern and it says repeat star to star 3 more times. So you're going to continue doing that, knitting this. So we're doing this knit 1, purl 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Okay. Then we're going to pass 2 over. 1, 2 knit ways. So that means taking the stitch off from behind and not in the front. Okay, we're going to knit 1 and we're going to slide the stitch on over. See? And then we purl 1. And then we knit 1, purl 1, 4 more times. Oops, I'm getting short on string here. All right, so we got 1 knit purl, 2 knit purls, 3 knit purls, 4 knit purls. So we're done that row again. So we do another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what do? We slip our stitches, knit ways. So from behind again. 1 stitch, 2 stitch, We knit this and we slide that sucker over. And then we purl 1. Perfect. Then we're going to knit and purl 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to do this 5 times. 1, 2, oops, 2, 3, 4. And then the purl at the end of 1. Okay, hold on 1 second. Beep, 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 beep. All right, and we do purl. Bring the yarn forward. Purl. Beautiful. Okay. And then, how many do we do? Where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. One sec. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we just need 1 more to cast on. Or sorry, to decrease. gotta make sure you do your pattern. You gotta take your time with it. I've after stopped and started a few times counting my stitches. Very easy to do. Again, if you lose place, this is a purl, this is a knit. Find that funny old stitch there. And this is where you decrease. So just find your pattern, figure out where you decrease to. That's your one purl, and then you count. That's your knit, that's your purl. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the end of the round. So this is the beginning of our next round, okay? So count up your stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm just counting in pairs, of course. So I'm counting a pair of knit and purls, of course. I don't want to confuse y'all. Okay, so now we're going to slide knitwise. 1. Now we're going to slide knitwise. 1, 2. We're going to do our knit. We're going to slide that over to here. We have another decrease. We're going to purl. Then we're going to finish our round, okay? So you're going to do your 4 knit and purls. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Now, and what you're going to do, you're going to continue on with the pattern. The pattern states that you continue on your round. So then you go down to round 4 and then continue right on through to round 12 where you'll finish off your hat. And we're going to reconvene there. So remember, I'm going to have a video, a knit tip to explain that decrease again. It's a really easy decrease. Make sure that you follow your pattern. If you end up with weird number of stitches, start over. God knows I've started this hat over at least 3 times. Various reasons. Just FYI. I had my needles break. Fantastic. Not going to swear about that. Had to go out in Michael's and get myself a new pair. Awesome. Then I accidentally put a misstitch in. Then I accidentally read the pattern wrong. It's very easy to do. Always double check your pattern 6 times. 16 times if you want to. Anyway, so just continue on your rounds. We're going to reconvene. After this round, it states that you should have 80 stitches on these, on your knitting needles right now. The next round will be 72, and it'll continue on down. All right, we'll reconvene once we get all the rounds done.
A few moments later.
Okay, now we're back. Now that I got all the decreases done and I got the crown done, now we just have to stitch it up. See? So we just need a tail that's long enough here. That should be good. We're going to take our sewing needle. Perfect. All right. Now, we have to sew this guy back up. So hold on now. We take our needle and we go through these stitches one at a time. There you go. Now sometimes you can run them all the way through, but I got this done a little bit tight here. Perfect. Now do that. Kind of get them all on the way through here. And what we're going to do is we're going to tighten this guy back up. Just as easy peasy as that. There. Now. Okay. See? Hat's all stitched together. We're going to go on the inside here for a second. And we're going to stitch this through. Hold on now. I'm just bringing that needle down through here. So all you're going to do is just pull that tight. Make sure the top of the hat is cinched close together. And we're just going to run the needle through here a little bit just to hold that wool. We don't want it to go anywhere. We don't want any runs for any little children's, any nieces or nephews. And I just like to go back and forth. Ooh, we're almost done here now. Perfect. Now that's not going to come undone there. We cinch that shut. We cut that off. Sew up any loose ends to finish this hat off, such as this guy here. Actually, maybe we'll go right up the row here. We're just getting that done off tight. This is just called finishing the hat. We're just taking any loose ends and bringing it right back into the material. The goal is, though, to not be able to see it very well. Perfect. Once I cut that, that should be fine. Okay. Now, what do you think? Such a cute little hat. Ah, and it stretches like crazy. Ah. Now I got another one here that we can do. This is a ladies one. Okay, this is another one that I did. And we're on the last stitches, okay? Same thing. We're going to cut, oh my goodness gracious. We're going to cut probably like a ruler's length of yarn. Here we go. And again, we're going to bring it through these stitches. Okay, so we're going to bring it through. Just running it through. We're just tying her tight, okay? There we go. There we go. Come over here. Oh man, I made this hat so tight. Oh goodness. Don't do that. Okay, and oh, I see what I did. Here. There we go. Now, so I'm just sliding these stitches on through. Now what you could do, you could take your knitting needle, or sorry, your sewing needle, and you can kind of pick up the stitches and go right on through them if you wanted and leave them on the needle and then just take your knitting needle out. That's another way of doing it. It's just mine is just way too tight right now. Okay, so that's the little hole that we got on top. If you see, that's the little hole we got on top. And we're just going to pull that tight, right? We're just going to pull it tight. And then we're just going to cinch him tight like that. So we're just going to go through, just make sure that that does not open up again. Now you can put a bobble on the top of this hat if you wanted to. I'm not going to because it's nice having just a nice little fisherman stocking cap. But you can. And we're going to secure this as well. Here we go. We're just tying in all the loose ends, okay? There we go. Actually, what's the best way to do this? All right, we'll just go around the edge of the hat. Bring it right back through. Good. Now, turn it inside out, because that's the nice side. Beautiful. Oh, nice little, beautiful little hat there. Look. Ah, nice. Now that she's all done, now you just rehomes it. Right? Now you can make this as long as you want so that the child or the adult can just, you know, cinch it as they need be. Right? Looks a lot better on a head, I'm going to tell you. See? Or you can leave it long and just let it slouch. Either way, the hat's done there, and you can give that to whomever you like. You can get all kinds of different colors and different wools, obviously, and different yarns. Now I knitted this a little bit loose, as you can see, so it's not too tight, but it's nice. Perfect. Now you got it done. Congratulations. Your two beautiful hats here. Now, that's another project in the books. Thanks, guys, for watching. That's Newfie Knits. And don't forget, who knit you? Thanks, guys. For more Newfie Knits, subscribe, like, and share. Thanks, guys.